Hey there everybody, this is Brian with Creative. Hey, we got an exciting part 4 for you today. We are going to have a part 5, but not because it's anything more. It's just that this video is really long. So I am going to condense it into 2 parts so it doesn't chew up all your time watching just one video. You can split it up and watch 2 at 2 different times, or one right after the other, which would then be an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes each. It's pretty long. So what we're going to do today is, as I had said, we were going to take the little one. If you recall, we have this little one here, and we are going to make it a little bit bigger. It's really nice. I love this little one. It's very artistic. It's kind of fancy, actually, but you can't, no matter how close I get to that picture there, it's really hard to see her details of her face. You can kind of make out the face there, and it's nice. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to increase the size of this one so you can really see the details. On top of that, last night I went ahead and printed out the larger one from the 3D printer. As you recall, I showed you this one previously, and I had broken it in half, and it was somewhat smaller. So the one you see in the video where we're doing it in 3D Builder, that was like 180 bucks if you ordered it online, that's actually this size, and it would be this one here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a decal on this as well. That'll probably be in part 5, where I put the decal on this and show it to you all. It's really just going to be printed off an inkjet printer, and as the instructions say, you can put it in the oven, and that had me some worry, because this PLA has a glass transition point of 60 degrees Celsius, and it melts at about 180 and higher degrees Celsius, 185 or so. I know that printer is set to 195 is where it starts building this from. So it ends up that you have to put it in the oven for 25 minutes at 212 degrees, which is 100 degrees Celsius, which isn't quite at the melted to extruded into this thing, but that's past the glass transition point and has me a little bit worried. Thankfully, you can also use a hairdryer. So I will be using a hairdryer to dry the decal once I have it on here. I'm choosing a decal because a sticker just doesn't go over these highs and lows very well. And as you can see, there's, just like in the model in the video there's highs and there are lows. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do this part yet on these edges, but I think it's just going to really be making the decal a little bit bigger. I'll have to do the decal like I have cut out like we do for the pictures for the cardboard, which, by the way, we are also going to go ahead and size everything and get everything ready for doing the cardboard as well, just so you all can see how to do it if you don't have a laser cutter or a 3D printer, which most people probably don't. And so I'd like to try to do as many things I can that you can do too with me, and we can do them. You can watch the video and then you can do it too if it's a success, and I can tell you already it's a success. So this is going to be an awesome one. If you want to follow along with this video and do it yourself, it will work, and I can give you a little hint, it's gonna be cool. So let's go ahead and get creative and get on into Photoshop. Okay, so instead of going ahead and cutting a whole bunch more wood for this, the panel board, I'm going to try to use what I've got. I think I'm going to need like probably 6 of these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 right here in front of me. These are 12 inches long by 8 inches for 2 of them and 7 inches for the others. So I'm going to go ahead, first start off in Photoshop, and I'm going to make that size fit. Now I want the same size start, so this is where we're going to kind of split this between 2. If you're going to be doing this on paper and you want to make it larger, you'd follow roughly the same ideas, except if you're printing it on paper, chances are all the paper is probably going to be the same size instead of having it be a little bit different. That does make it more complicated, but that's okay. Complications happen when you're being creative, and we just have to adjust for them. Now I can do the whole thing at 7, but I really wanted some of the parts to be 8, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an 12 by 8 box here. I do not want that background to be black. I'd like it to be white. preferably, which I just did black. Okay, now it's white. And then I'm going to create a new one here, and I'm going to make it 7. 7 as well. So I have one that's 7 and one that's 8. This is our original picture, as we might remember. So for this, since I'm doing the K40, I'm not able to use color because it doesn't do color. It's just a laser etching on wood. So I'm going to drag the picture over here, and we'll see it pop up in here, and we can tell right off the bat that it's probably just a little bit too small since I want to do something much larger. However, how does it show up on this 7? Let's find out and see how much bigger it is. See, it fits pretty good on the 7, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Let's go ahead and let's delete those out. And let's go back and look at this here. The dimensions on this is 5.486 by 6. So if we can increase that to, let's say, a height of 7, what's that going to do? Put us at 6.4, which would mean that we can't really do 2 images next to each other to make it fit. So I guess that means we are actually going to be, let's make this 6 because we want this to be 6. So 6.562 would be what we want to go with, because the width is, we have 12 inches total. So we're going to go with that, and that's going to increase the entire size of this document all at once in every single layer all at one time, which is what we want to do. So let's move this over here now. So that's going to be the size we're going to go with, which means that I am going to be just fine as far as fitting them all on there. And let's see, over here, I could drag another group on there and then just make the easy way. This one already has it apparently. Oh, there we go. Alright. And over all the way. There we go. We have 2 sitting right next to each other, which is fantastic. Let's do the same thing here on the 7-inch. Let's put two of them over. And we're going to do it like this. And then we're going to come over here and grab it again. And we're going to line it up even. So now remember how many we have actually. So we are going to need to remember that little nugget of information there. Let's go ahead with the first one here, and we don't want to have all of these visible. We only want to have, well, for starters, remember that our background is important, so we need to cut this out. So we're going to copy this. We're going to duplicate the group, yes, and let's say this is cut 1, or just 1, and this is 2. So we'll work with this one first. We have 2 of these 8 by 12 sheets, so let's go ahead and let's start with our cuts. We're going to make everything go away except for our biggest area, which will be right there. This is our biggest area. Let's go ahead and let's control click on it to select it. We are in the cut or copy, which we're going to change the name of this to cut. So back here, we're on this one, so we want to go ahead and I want to do it on that one, not this one. So that can go away. Yep, that's the one we want to do it on. And in, we're actually going to have to copy 2 of these, aren't we? We are, because one cut, this will be cut 1. Cut 1, and let's duplicate this one. This one will be, this one will be lost. Lost in space. Right, I think I just dropped it into 1. Yeah, I did. Alright, there we go. This one will be cut 2, because it's located on the other side, and that's what we need to do. So we're going to go ahead and turn these off as well. And come on down. Right, just like that. I would love to be able to put just a little bit of space in there, So what we're going to do is, I'm going to start these over, because that would be very helpful to have that touch of space between them so that they don't get connected to each other. I think that if we did that, then it would recognize them as one image instead of two images, and that would be problematic for us. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these, come back over to this one, and we did change the image size, so I'm going to change the image size again. We're sitting at this one here, but I want the width to be 5.9 inches. Right, that's going to be a little bit smaller and just about the size we want it to be. I was hoping for 8 by 8, but that would 8 inches tall, but apparently that would require a lot more wood than I have cut, and I don't want to do that. I just want it bigger. So let's go ahead and take our black and white cutter over here again, and we're going to drag it over. I'm going to right now change the name to set 1. We'll do it that way, set 1, and we want to go ahead and move it over to the side. Let's get it in the middle. It would be nice if I did that. Right. Now we're going to do it again, or we can just come right over here and just duplicate this group, and we're going to call it set 2. Okay, set 2, and we'll move set 2 under set 1 just so it... Uh-oh. Not what I expected. Alright, let's try that again. Set 2 will go under set 1. There we are. And I'm going to move it over all the way to the side, on the other side. I could do it right there. That leaves a little bit of space. And also can get account for the fact that I may not have it be exactly 12 inches. I think I do, though. Take a peek here, and you know what? No, I am a little shy of 12 inches. I'm about a 1/3 or 1/4 of an inch shy of 12 inches, which means that I'm going to have to do this again. I guess measuring things to begin with is best. Again, if you're using paper and a printer, you don't really need to do that because those are all measured perfectly. However, for this, it is not. So, once again, image size. Alright, there we are. Image size. And we're going to reduce this to a width of, let's say, 5.75. 5.75, which should... Oops, I did 7.75. 5.75. You know what? Let's just make this 6 inches. That makes it much easier for us. 6 inches. So we're back to 6 inches. Let's go ahead and move our 6 inches up here, and then that should give us plenty of room to put both of these groups in here. We'll call this set 1. And yep. And we're going to duplicate this set, or group. Duplicate the group, and we're going to call this set 2. Set 2. And we're going to move set 2 under set 1, slide it over. We want to keep it even, and that looks good right about there. Fantastic. Now let's come over here and let's do the same thing that we just did. Actually, we can just grab these 2 sets. Let's put their other sets in there. Let's duplicate these 2 sets. Ungroup. No, we don't want ungroup. We want to duplicate the group. Okay, we're going to call this cut 1. Cut 1. And we're going to do here, duplicate the group, and we're going to call this cut 2. Now remember, if you're doing this on a printer, you do not need the cut groups because you will have that all in your printing. So we're going to go ahead and take all 4 of these, and I'm going to just drag them over to here, or they'll show up right there, and I'm just going to move them right into the middle like that. Great. Now, so let's remember we have 2 of these. Okay, so we're going to turn off our sets because we're going to do our cuts first. And let's come in. We want to turn off all of these ones here, and we want to get the 2 biggest ones, which in this case for this first one is going to be the background. Alright, so we're going to control click on it just like that, which selects the whole background. I'm going to come on over here with the paint brush, which is set to black, and I'm going to click on this layer, layer 1. I'm going to definitely increase that size, something much larger, and I'm going to just come in here and start painting. Alright, we'll have to fix that little spot there. You see that flashing one in the middle there? We don't want that. So let's do select, deselect, and just make sure that we hit all the parts that we need to hit. There we go. Perfect. Now that's our first one. It's a square. That's not very remarkable. However, it is important because that's where it's going to cut, if you remember from the last video, where we needed in our raster layer. Now let's go ahead and minimize that one there, and let's open it up here. We want to do the same thing. We want to turn off all of these, except we don't want that first layer 1. We want to look at layer 2. And because we've got to take this and we've got to cut out get our line up here for our cutout, which would be like this, in black. Yep, in black. Alright, so we can just do a select, deselect there, and now we have those two. This is the first cutout, so what we're going to do is we're going to save this. We're going to save this as I'm going to use some abbreviation here so we can keep it separate from what we've used before. So WOR, woman on rock, and I'm going to say cut 1 8-inch. Okay, because that's the 8-inch wide one. And although, you know, it doesn't really matter, it will fit on the 8 as well as the 7 because it is pretty small, and we're in the very center. So I'm just going to put war cut 1. I'm going to hit save, and then OK. Now, we had 2 of those 8-inch ones, so I'm going to come on down here. I'm going to make that go away. I'm going to bring up layer 13. I think it's the face layer. And cut 1 here. So we did layers 1, 2, so we're going to do layer 3. Alright, so let's select layer 3. There we have it. Let's go ahead and use our paintbrush on layer 3. And we're going to come in here and just mark it all up, just like that. And then we're going to move on over to cut 2, where we have layer 13, and we're going to go ahead and select that one. And we're going to do the same thing. Mark it all up, just like that. Make sure we get all of it in there, so that we're not missing any parts. Okay. And once again, we're done with this one, and let's go file and save as, and we're going to call this one, I bet you can't guess, we're going to call it war, WOR, cut 2, because it's original. It's the second one. War cut 1, and then this will be war cut 2. So we'll save that, and there would be our 8-inchers. Now we got from, if we look at this, we got from layers 1 to 13, although it's really only 4, how this worked out there. So I can close, no, I can't close that just yet. But what I can do is I can finish this one out all the way. I can close that, I can open, turn off the little eye next to it, which makes the visibility go away. Now, I can come over here to set 1. And this is going to follow along kind of what we did before. We're going to go in and we're going to deselect everything here except for this layer 1. And then we're going to come over to set 2, and we're going to deselect everything and deselect in this set 2 except for layer 2. So this is how we want this one to look. So we're going to do save as, and we're going to have it as a JPEG as well. And we're going to call this one war, not cut, but raster 1. Right, raster 1. Okay. And now I'm going to come back into 1 here, because remember we had 2 of those boards. So we're going to go to layer 3 here, because we did 1 and 2 for set 1. And we're going to come to set 2, and we're going to do layer 13, which is the face. And it looks like the middle rock. So let's go ahead and do save as, and then we're going to set this as war raster 2. The rasters and the cuts match each other, see, so that's very important for the laser etcher. Again, if you're doing a print job, you would just do it once, and you would only do it once in color. Okay, we're going to hit save on that. Now, for this one, I think we're done for this because this was the 8-inch and we only had two 8-inch boards. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one. I don't need to save it. I'm going to come back over to this one here. This one had cut 1 and cut 2. So let's go ahead and make sets 1 and 2 disappear. We do want to work with cut 1. We want to again turn off everything on it. And now what was the last one we did? We did layer 13 last, so we want to do 14 there for cut 1. And we want to do for cut 2, turn off everything. This is the importance of why we put everything in order before. So we're going to do 11, which is the body. So you see 14 is the hair, and that's the body. So let's go ahead and let's select up here. Let's select layer 14. And you see how it all comes out there. We're going to use our, make sure we have it selected. We do have our black marked, so we're just going to come in here and we're just going to color the whole thing in black. Yep, just like that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now we're going to move on down and we're going to do the same to layer 11, which is right above 14. And here we are with it. Let's make sure we have it selected. And let's go ahead and paint in it as well. Yep, just like that. Perfect. Excellent, 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 excellent. Let's get that all marked in. Let's go ahead and make sure we got this one just right. I don't want to miss anything. And no, we didn't. Good, good. So, this one we're going to file, save as. Now we're going to call it War Cut 3. Because this is the third one. Okay, there we go. War Cut 3. Now, let's go ahead and this is our cut 1. So if we don't use this one, we already did 11, remember? So now we're going to move on to 10. That's right, we're going to move on to 10 for this one. And since we did 11 on this one, we're not going to do 10 because that's what we're doing up there. We're going to do 9. So let's go ahead and control click on layer 10 and make sure we select it. And we're going to highlight it, control click on it. Go ahead and select it there, and we're going to mark everything in our black. Now we're going to come down to this one, layer 9. We're going to control click on it, make sure we have it selected, and we're going to go ahead and color everything on that as well. So we have layer 10 here and layer 9 here. Both are all selected and marked, so we're going to go ahead and come on up here and save this one. So file, save as. Now this one is going to be a JPEG as well, and we're going to call this one War Cut 4. War Cut 4, right there. Save. Okay, now I'm worried a little bit because I have 6 boards. That's all I've got is 6 boards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we may end up needing 7 boards. If so, I think my choices for size are diminished greatly. However, that said, I do have a couple smaller pieces I can hit with. Those are very much thinner, the size of that aluminum foil one we did. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what we end up with. If we have to do something like that, then we have to do something like that. But you see, they keep getting smaller as we keep going. And it may just be the very end ones that we have to do that for. So let's go ahead and move on up. We did 10 and 9. Okay, so 10 and 9 right here. So the next one we're going to do is 8. So let's go ahead and control click on 8. And, oh, I don't have it selected. There we go. Select that and fill it in. Fill it in there, right? And so that means that we're going to do the one above 8 here. So we see this is 9, 8, so 6 right there. So let's control click on that. And there we are. This is layer 6. And let's mark it all up. There we go. Perfect. That's excellent. That's what we want to see. Let's go ahead and go file, save as, and this is going to be again a JPEG file, and War Cut 5. War Cut 5.
save. Okay, now, so we did 8 and 6, so we can turn that off. We did 6, so let's do 7. Interesting. Let me open that up real quick here. Did I not mark that other one? Let's go all the way down to war. Cut. 5. No, I did. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Interesting, isn't it? I think I put them both on the same one. I did. Look at that. That's why. Ha! Okay, so we're at 7. That's the one we want to look at. 7. And we want to look at 4, I think it is. That's the last one. So, these are the last ones we have here. So, because we did 6. So we're doing 7. You know, select that. And go ahead and fill it in. And then we want to do 4. Select that and fill it in. So 7 and 4. So we're getting 2 off of each one. So we'll be able to check it in just a second to make sure we've got enough. Alright, so we're going to go File, and we're going to go Save As, and once more it's going to be a JPEG. And we want to do cut 6, which would be perfect amount that we actually want to cut. Hit Save, and okay. So let's just make sure here we have of our layers. We'll double check that in just a second. We'll just click on those to make them disappear. We're going to go, because we still have to do our rasters. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at set 1, and we'll be able to determine what we're doing here. So I'm just going to do them both on let's see here. There's our background right there. Okay, and so we want to look at set 2. Come on down here. We want that visible. Let's undo all of these eyes. Don't want to see those. And we don't want layer 1 either, we just want layer 2. So, here is our first one. This is our raster 1, which is, as you noticed, we had already gotten a raster 1 in this setup. We have a raster 1 and a raster 2. That should match, so we can open it, actually. Let's come on down to raster 1, right here, and where's that raster 2? Where is that raster 2? There's raster 2. Let's see, open on both of those. Ah, raster 2 didn't save, but raster 1 did. As we can see, raster 1 matches that perfectly, and that's exactly what we want to see. Let's go ahead and move on from that one. So, we did 1 and 2, so we're going to move this to 13, and the other one to 3. 13 and 3. This should be our second one. We got 1 and 2 done, so 1 will skip 1 and go to the next. And then this one was on 2, so we'll skip 1 and go to the next. So this would be what we want to do, so let's do a Save As. And we're going to use a JPEG. Now we know that raster 2 didn't work, so let's go ahead and let's save it. Yes, we want to replace it. Alright, let's see if it actually saved this time, so we'll open it. We don't want to have to come back and do it again. It looks like it because there it is. Perfect. Excellent. So, now we're going to come up here. Remember, what we're going to do is we're on 3, so we're going to skip 1 and go to the next one. That's 14. And we're going to come down here, and this is on 13, so we're going to skip it, skip 14, and we're going to go to 11. So these are the 2 we want, and we're going to go File, Save As, JPEG right there. We're going to call this one raster 3. Raster 3. Perfect. Now hit Save. Okay. Get a little drink there. Whew. Now, we just did 14 because this is set 1, so we're going to skip layer 11. We're going to go to 10. Right, and now we're going to come on down here to set 2, and we're going to skip 10. and we're going to go to 9. There we go. These are the next couple parts we've got to work with here. So let's go File, and let's go Save As. And once again, JPEG. We're going to slide on down to raster 3, and this is going to be raster 4. Raster 4. Perfect. Save. Okay. Now, we've got raster 4 there. Let's go back to set 1. We skipped 9, and we're going to go straight to 8. And then we're going to skip 8, and we're going to go straight to 6. So there's the next one. This is File, Save As, JPEG. And we're going to do this as raster 5. Perfect. Yes. Now, we're going to come back to set 1 here. We're going to skip layer 6, and we're going to go straight to layer 7. And then down on set 2, we're going to skip layer 7, and we're going to go straight to layer 4, which means we actually have the right amount. And I didn't miss any because both of them are going to end up as the exact same. So let's go ahead and do a Save As. Oh, let's click on here. New File, Save As. And we're going to go to JPEG. We should be able to come down and do a raster 6. Perfect. And save. Let's go ahead and do an open. Make sure we can see there's icons for everything we've got here. We've got raster 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. They look like they're all fine. We have the cut 6, cut 5, cut 4, cut 3, cut 2, and cut 1. Those also look fantastic. I would say we're definitely doing pretty good. I don't need to open any of those because I can see their icons, which means they're going to work. So this is now done. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that or close it. We don't need it anymore. But I am going to get ready, and I'm going to show you how we're going to set this up for printing it on your color one, your color inkjet printer. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a file, new, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to say that this is what is the size of a regular piece of paper, A4 paper. Well, I did happen to have that sticker, if you recall, and I'm not going to use the sticker. I'll use glue because the sticker is far more expensive than just regular paper. However, regular paper the sticker is the size of regular paper, which would be 11 inches long by 8.5 inches wide. 8.5 by 11. I knew that, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So let's go ahead and make this width is 8.5, 8.5, and the height is 11. That would be what a piece of paper is. There is our piece of paper. It's beautiful piece of paper. Now let's go ahead and let's take our color cutter that we have here and let's drag it onto this. Now this one we're going to be able to do pretty much the same thing. We just put it on the paper, and then we can take a second one and we can drag it. Oh, it's the same document. Let's just duplicate that. Let's see here. Oh well, we can't do it quite the same way though. If we recall, it was set to go sideways. So let's go ahead and let's go image, and let's image rotation. We want to actually rotate it clockwise. We're going to do it this way. We're going to set our image sideways, and I'm going to delete this color cutter from it. Yep, and I'm going to put it back in there right here. There we go. The reason is because now another thing is sometimes some printers won't print to the border, which means that this picture is going to be kind of too big. So what we need to do is we need to make it so it can do that. So I'm going to duplicate this right here because I do want to keep that one like it is, but I do want to come over to this one and I want to size it. A lot of inkjet printers, or a lot of printers that you might have at home, have a 0.5 border, and we need to take that into consideration. So what we're really looking at is a piece of paper that's not 11 inches long, it's 10, and it's not 8.5 inches long wide, it's 7.5. So we can account for that 0.5 inch border that could be present. because some printers can't print all the way to the edge. In fact, I don't know of many that can. However, I could be wrong. There could be lots that do it now, but we'll account for that from the get-go. That way we don't have to worry about it. So let's go edit, and let's go back to our image size, image size, and we have a width of 5.5 and a height of 6, but the height of 6 is where we're going to have a problem, because 6 and 6, well, let's see, does 6 come into become an issue for us? 6 inches. 6 inches, we can go up to 7.5. So you know what? Let's actually increase this to 7, but no, that changes our width to 6.417 when we only have 10. So we need this to go to 6, and that's 5.5, so we actually need this to go to 5.5, which puts us at 5.42. Let's put this at 5 even. There we go, 4.5. So that will give us a little bit about, and we'll hit around 9, which is good. So we're going to do 5 inches. Now you could print one of these per page if you wanted to use that much paper, and you could have it much, much larger. But we're not going to do it that way. We're going to try to fit it the same way we did on the other one. So now I'm going to drag this over here, and there's how big it will be. Let's go ahead and move it like this, and then we're going to come over here, and we're going to, which is different here. We're going to call this set 1, right, and we're going to duplicate this group, and we're going to drag it underneath, and we're going to call it set 2. And we don't need to have these named differently for this one. There is one thing that would help us greatly, and that is if we can change our colors a little bit. So if I control click in here and I make everything else go away, so let's make everything go away. Okay, so it looks like this. Sometimes it would be nice if what we could do is, instead of having it be like this, we could somehow do a cut from it. But if this is white and we print with white, then we're not going to know what it actually is. Now there's two ways we could do this. We could go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to fill in every one of these white areas with something, and that would work. We could do that. That would be possible. That would be a lot of filling in. Or, since we're going to be cutting these out of a piece of paper on cardboard, it might be easier just to know where we need to cut and make a line for our cutting. That's much more efficient for us. So let's go ahead and move our set 2 over real quick. Oops. Let's move our set 2 over. And we want to put it somewhere kind of close to each other. So let's put set 1, let's move it over 2. Right there. That looks good. We don't have to worry about the laser trying to cut it out, which means we can actually put these kind of in the center, and they don't have to be too far apart from each other. So this looks like a good option right here. Let's go ahead and to set 1, and we can turn everything back on. So we're going to do a little switch up there. We just switched over, and I realized after printing everything that a box idea, which is what I had come up with, was not going to work, because if you cut out a box on every one of these, then what you're going to end up with is just the end rock and everything else white, which would not be right. So what we actually need to do is we need to come in and we need to have something to show us what is different about each one of these. Now, I don't want to use a lot of ink trying to do this, so I'm going to use a very, very light gray, and I'm going to come over here below set 1 and below set 2. Right here, I'm going to increase, put another layer. I'm going to change this from black to a light gray, something that'll come out, but it won't be so dark. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put a box around it like this, and then I'm going to fill that with just this light gray, so that we now have a light gray all the way around where we need to cut, so that we'll know how we need to cut each one of these. So I'm going to go into set 1, I'm going to turn off each one of these back to where we were at the beginning, And we're going to have to save over each one of these. So we have this one, and you can see very clearly we want to cut that gray off, leaving the white. So we're going to go to set 2, and I'm going to come in here and very quickly just go ahead and mark all these off so that we are showing layer 2. See, that gray would be cut out. If we just put a box around each one, then we would not have cut that gray out, and that would be problematic because we wouldn't be able to see what was behind it, thus it wouldn't be a 3D picture. So we're going to go ahead and file and save as on this one, and we're going to save it as what we had there before, a JPEG, and we're going to call it WR color 1, just save over what we had before. And now I'm going to pop up to set 1 again. I'm going to skip layer 2, go to layer 3. I'm going to pop down here. I'm going to go from layer 2, skip layer 3, go to layer 13, and then we're going to go to File and Save As. It's much quicker this time around. JPEG and color 2. Save. Yes. Okay. Now we're at set 1 again. We're at 3. We're going to skip 13 and go to 14. We're going to skip 14 and we're going to go to 11. There we go. And we're going to do File, Save As. And I believe this one would be a JPEG, and this would be color 3. Right, let's see, this is 1, 2, oh, we're on set 2 here, so 1, 2, 3, yep, this is color 3. So, color 3, save, yes, okay. So now we're back at set 1. We're going to skip 11 and we're going to go to 10. We're going to skip 10 and we're going to go to 9 on set 2. We'll go File, Save As, and this would be set. This would be color or color 4. Right there. Yes. Okay. And now we're going to back here at set 1. So we're going to skip 9 and we're going to go to 8. And we're going to come down here and we're going to skip 8 and we're going to go to 6. And we're going to go up here and we're going to go File, Save As, and JPEG once again. That was 5, so this is 5 actually, I believe. Save, yes, to replace it. Okay. And now we're back up here. We're going to skip 6. We're going to go straight to 7. And we're going to skip 7 and we're going to go to 4. So let's pop up here and go File, Save As. And we're going to knock this down to JPEG and color 6. Save, yes, okay. Now let's just verify. We open, and we're going to go ahead and go all the way down here, and we're going to look at our colors. We have the background and the second layer, so 1 and 2, and this would be 3 and 13. This would be 14 and 11. Whoop, oh, too many. This would be 11 and 10. This would be 9 and 8, and this would be no, let's see, I must not have that right yet here. This would be 1 and 2. This would be 3 and 13, 14 and 11. Right, okay, and this would be 10 and 9. This would be 8 and 6, and 7 and 4. So there, now we have them all. We're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and send these to the printer as I, once again, right now I'm going to pop into Inkscape so we can get them set up for the laser.
And I'm not Inkscape. No, this is where I'm going to cut the video because, like I said in the beginning, I was going to have to cut this one into 2 because we're already at 44 minutes or so, and at the start of when I started talking to you. So I did want to say I was going to split it out. So we still have the Inkscape coming up. We still have showing you some of that cuts. I can tell you that the cutting for this video, unfortunately, the batteries on my amazing, awesome Dragon Touch. It's got 2 batteries, and they both died. It just, there's a lot of cutting involved. During that cutting, I did mess up once. You'll get to see that, and I had to redo that part, which made it take a little bit longer. So anyway, there's still plenty of cool lasering that you can see in there. It's just not all of it because it took a while. It really did. That was 7 boards and a lot of rasters and then cuts, and then also remember we did send it over to the printer, and my son cut it out for me, glued it to the cardboard and cut it out. I have some thoughts on that. It's easier if you take the paper and you probably cut it out and then put it on the cardboard, and then cut out the cardboard around the paper. Just don't cut the paper. Remember, you just want to cut off all the gray. You don't want to cut off the white or the picture. Those are important. That is not how we did it, and so it was very difficult for him. He got the edges a little rough. I might go ahead and try to show you how it would look with poster board. Or not poster board. Poster board would work great, actually. But cardstock. Thick paper. Really thick paper. You can get cardstock anywhere. I picked some up today at Walmart. I can go ahead and I can shoot that off to the printer here right now while we're switching between part 4 and part 5. And I can switch that over and then cut it out while I'm compiling part 4 to throw online for you all, and that way in part 5 I can show you the results of it in cardstock, where I don't add any cardboard. I'm just going to glue the cardstock because it's thicker on top of each other to see how that actually comes out looking. I mean, cutting it out, it's pretty simple. You take a pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife and you but maybe I can toss that cardstock in the laser? Nah. Last time I put cardstock in the laser, it made it really ashy, and I had to get in there with my magic rag. Magic rag. And clean it all out. Oh, wow. Magic rag smells like a forest fire. Oh. So, wow. It's magically allergenic. So we have that one. I will show you in those the results of a lot of these things, including hopefully the decaling of this. This is a little more complicated than I initially said. You have to print the decal, and then you have to spray it with clear coat, which I did get some today, so I knew that was there. I just forgot to mention it. And then that has to dry, and you dry it with a dryer, hair dryer. And then you put it in water for 30 seconds, and then you slide it on, and then you dry it with the hair dryer again, and then you should have the picture. But I'm really, really excited to see this one. I am almost sure with the decal on there, since the decal slides over surfaces and gets their contours, that this thing is going to come out fantastic and look absolutely amazing. I have a feeling this might look the best out of all of them. I'm hopeful. I mean, it'll look more like it did in the video where I showed you the 3Ds pictures. Another really neat thing would be if you just wanted a picture for your computer or print, you could probably take it from that point, angle it the way you wanted it to get the most, when you look at this, you can see the light hit it at different angles and show depth. So you could probably do something like that just on your screen, take a picture of that, and print that to get your depth into a 3D picture, sort of taking a 2D picture and moving it to 3D, and then moving it back to 2D. I guess that makes sense. But, it would be like changing the angle a little, maybe? I don't know. But it's possible. There's so many things that are possible if you get creative that really it's a universe of possibilities. So, here we have, I'm going to try to get the decal on this as well. We have some other great reveals coming up for you from this one. We are in part 5. We're coming to the very end, and we're going to get to see all the different amazing ways that the 3D Engrave has come out in so many different avenues. A lot of it you can do at home. It's not dangerous. Mom and Dad, your kids can do it too if they do it on the printer. You could probably just do the cardstock or poster board, and they can just use those kid scissors. Safety first always, but really, there are some really cool ways that this can be done by just about anybody. You don't have to have the advanced equipment that I have. Nerdiness is contagious, though, so, geek out. You just geek out. But always keep creative. Let's get creative. And this is Brian. See you in part 5. Adios.